Okay, welcome to Carbon Chemistry 3, Synthetic and Natural Polymers. This is the third video in a series of 4. This video is kind of a bridge between what you've done in the past 2 videos and what you're going to do in the next one. So there's a lot of information here, but a lot of these pages you will not need to take notes on, so I'll be pointing out what you should and shouldn't take notes on. A lot of the structures you do not have to draw. Some of them are very, very complicated, you'll find today. Okay, so let's start off with talking about some definitions. A polymer is a large complex molecule built from smaller molecules joined together in a repeating pattern. So if that circle there represented a monomer, or a small particle that's going to link together to make this polymer, each of these would be the exact same molecule, and somehow we're going to link them together in a process called polymerization and create a polymer, which is basically a chain of repeating monomers. Okay? Some examples should be fairly well known to you. We got starches. Again, don't draw the structure of starch, please. You also have proteins and meat. Again, you don't have to draw that crazy, weird thing that's a protein, showing all kinds of structures going on in there. We'll talk about only the most basic type of structure in the proteins in this video, and that's the amino acid backbone. Okay? But ultimately, the idea is that there's these repeating monomers bonding together into this polymerized molecule, and that things like starch and protein are a type of them. We also have synthetic polymers. Those, of course, are plastics, things like that. Paints, automotive parts, bottles. There's lots of places that you would find plastics, turns out. Living things, food, plastic, they're all made from organic compounds. Turns out organic compounds do a very good job at creating these polymers. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Realistically, carbon is so versatile because, number one, it can make 4 bonds. So it's situated right there in the sweet spot as far as having a lot of partners that it can make, a lot of bonds it can form. And it can create straight chains, branch chains, and rings. So not only does it have the ability to bond to 4 different atoms, or double bond, triple bond, whatever, makes 4 bonds, but it also can do that in a variety of different backbones, basically, branched and straight chain and different ring structures, and all these very complex looking molecules. But that huge variety allows carbon to play a very central role in life, and this is a big part of it. So one thing you should be aware of, so again, we see there's ethylene turning into polyethylene. There's a picture of that there. It's kind of like a plastic. If you go down to tap plastic, you should find some of that. But a polymer could also be made from not just one type of monomer, but different types of monomers. You probably want to draw this picture. Each of the diamonds, the oval, and the triangle all represent different monomers bonding together in a repeating pattern to create the polymer. Okay. Some natural polymers are found in plants. Starch and cellulose are 2 big popular ones. Again, don't draw the structures for these guys. They're very complicated. Natural polymers also include things like DNA, RNA, proteins, all of which are made from repeating chains of nucleic acids or amino acids, stuff like that, which we'll go into in more detail in our next video. A lot of synthetic polymers come from oil and coal, and that ends up being turned into different compounds, which end up becoming things like carpet, chewing gum, polyester clothing, even school glue. Realistically, there's two driving forces here. One of them is affordability, and one of them is durability. So a lot of clothing, you'll find that polyester and stuff like that will be used when it'd be cheaper than cotton or wool or something like that, or perhaps more durable. You also have vinyl flooring as compared to hardwood floors. So there's different ways. Definitely with hardwood you can get some pretty expensive types of wood, whereas your vinyl flooring, it's durable, it's rugged, it's cheap, you know. So that's realistically why we tend to have these things. Composites are interesting. Composites are where we combine two different molecules to get different properties. The idea comes from plants. So if you look at plants here, if you look at a tree, you'll find that there's two different polymers. You got cellulose, which is very flexible, but it can't hold a lot of weight. And you have lignin, which can hold weight, but it's brittle. So you combine those two, and you create a composite, and you get the best of both worlds, basically. And that's how you can do things like build a strong tree trunk. For us, we use what's called composite, or things like fiberglass. Fiberglass is strands of glass that have been woven together and strengthened with liquid plastic that's going to set like a glue. Very lightweight, but it's also very strong. So you'll often find fiberglass in the hull of a boat or a body of a car. So there's lots of different cool things about that. And of course, finally, talking about plastics, talking about all these synthetic polymers, obviously there's some huge advantages. Most of them are inexpensive to make. They're very strong. They last a long time. But those advantages also create huge disadvantages. The first of which is that it's often cheaper to just throw it away and go get a new one than it is to actually reuse a lot of plastic items. They also don't break down very easily, so that's that long-lasting strength and the inexpensiveness are also the flaws, essentially. So it's very important that we adopt recycling things, because we can turn that waste plastic, and that would increase the volume of trash that we generate, and we can turn it into actual new plastic products and turn trash into useful items by recycling. So that's something that's pretty important overall. And that's really it for polymers. Again, this is more of a bridge to the next video, so I hope you enjoyed this. Again, please do not have written down the large structures. It's unnecessary. It's a lot of writing. You will never be asked to produce the structure of cellulose or anything like that on a math or science 8 exam for me. So 8th grade science exams, you are not expected to draw those out for me. Yeah, that's about it. Have a good day, and tune in for video 4.